A 16-year-old armless archer, Sheetal Devi, defied the odds and won medals for India at the Asia Para Games held in 2023 in China this year. The key word was armless. Sheetal took up archery only in 2022, just a year ago, and she's the only international woman archer who shoots with her leg. In this episode, we talk about this sports person who's inspired many generations, young and old. And joining me in this episode are
Hi, my name is Naira. I'm 9 years old. I study in grade 3. I'm very fond of current events and I love reading. Also, I love being on this podcast.
Yes, welcome back, Naira. I also love having you on this podcast. I remember your birthday is somewhere around the corner, am I right? Or is it your sister's birthday around the corner?
My sister's birthday around the corner.
Okay, so we're recording this in December 2023, and I had an opportunity to chat with Naira about a year ago when she did mention that she has a younger sister who she adores and also fights with often, and her birthday is somewhere around Christmas. Am I right?
Yeah, you're definitely right.
Awesome. Let's hear it from our other young co-host for this episode.
Hello, I am Sneha Shetty. I am in 4th standard. I love reading. I live in Mumbai.
Welcome, Smyan, or should I say, welcome back, Smyan. I've had the wonderful opportunity to chat with Smyan about tigers and about rhinoceroses as part of our wildlife series that we just recently recorded. So it's wonderful to have you back again, Smyan. How did you enjoy our previous recordings?
Well, they were very fun, and I kind of wish that I have more such podcasts like that one.
Yeah, wonderful. We'll do a lot more episodes. I'm sure Smyan and Naira, you all will be joining me in many more such episodes because I know both of you love to read and both of you do enjoy knowing a little bit about what's going on in the real world.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's jump into today's story. First, I know, Smyan, you've done a lot of reading about Sheetal Devi. What struck you?
She was an armless archer. She was since she had a genetic disease. When she was born, she was diagnosed with a disease called phocomelia, something like that. It's a rare disease where your arms and legs don't develop fully, but luckily her only her arms were not developed. She was practicing archery with her sir, and as she was holding the bow and the arrow, she hit a bull's eye.
Wow, that's what inspired you.
Yeah, and at first she was not even able to lift the heavy bow.
Yeah,
But
I'm
now
sure it
she
is.
hit a bullseye.
Wow, and imagine she's trained for just a little over a year in her lifetime, and she's already won medals for India. Isn't that
Yeah.
amazing? Yeah, yeah. We'll discuss the story in slightly greater detail, but I have a question for Naira. Naira, I know you're quite fresh to this whole story of Sheetal Devi, so you're probably like most of our listeners who've never heard of her. So if I came and told you there is someone who is an armless archer. Do you understand? Can you even wrap your head around it? What does it mean?
I don't think I believe that at first words. If anybody comes and tell me, oh, she's a armless, archer, and she's like won medals, I'm like, no, you've got to be kidding.
When you think of someone holding a bow and arrow, right? Like, I don't know if you all know characters from Indian mythology, like Arjuna or Lord Ram, right? These are
Yes,
characters we always think about in association with a bow and arrow.
bow and arrow.
How do they hold it?
They hold it with their left hand on the arrow. There's a thread on the bow, so the right hand is pulling that. It's kind of like an elastic. It just shoots.
Right. But in the event you ever get a chance to look at a picture of Sheetal Devi when she participated in these events, so you can usually see her seated on a chair. and she uses her right leg, and she lifts her right leg to raise the bow or to lower the bow, and then she pulls the string back using her right shoulder and her mouth. So that's how she manages to do archery, and
She won a silver and a gold medal.
Wow, right? Absolutely amazing. Now, Smyan, tell us, where is she from?
Well, she's from a small village in Kashmir.
Yes, she is from a tiny little village in Kashmir. So, when you think of Kashmir, what comes to your mind?
Well, to me it seems mostly gold.
It is also very beautiful. There's a lot of greenery there.
If you compare our city to Kashmir, there in Kashmir it is very hilly there.
It's very
Hilly.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, there are beautiful mountains there.
And since we're recording this in December, I'm pretty sure it started snowing there too right now. So, yeah, that's what Kashmir brings to our mind. Beautiful tall pine trees and hills and snow. When she was a little child, she used to love climbing trees.
Like people used to, like her friends, after coming back from school, her friends also went with her. So every time, every day they used to climb trees. So for the first time, when her friends saw that she was climbing trees with her legs, they got very scared because anytime she could fall because she did not have legs, she could not hold on to the tree. But she never got scared.
I was awestruck when I read that bit that she loved climbing trees and she did not have arms. So her arms, for those of you who's not seen a picture of Sheetal Devi, her arms kind of stop at roughly the same point where most of us wear our half sleeve t-shirts or any tops. So roughly around there is where her arm stops. She really has nothing to extend and hold on to the trees. But because she had climbed trees, you know what had happened to her legs? They had become very strong. Because now almost every activity that she was doing was only using her legs. So for most of us, right, we use our arms and legs for multiple different activities. We write with our hands, for example, right? We paint with our hands. She does everything with her legs. She writes with her legs. She paints with her legs. Therefore, her legs have gained so much strength. To compensate for the lack of strength or the lack of existence of her arms, her legs had become really, really strong. Wow! I have a small story to narrate about Sheetal Devi. Up until the pandemic, she was living a peaceful life, climbing trees and all of that. Now suddenly pandemic happened, schools closed, all of that. And then she also got access to smartphones and internet and the rest of the world. So the first thing she noticed about what people with her kind of disability could do, I don't know if disability is the right word, her kind of special condition could do, what do you think was a piece of technology she discovered that she might have wanted to try to adopt for herself? Can you guess?
I don't know the word for it, but it's like an techno arm where you just attaches to the arm that you have, and then you can do the work with that.
Yeah.
Prosthetic.
Prosthetic is the word. So she wanted to get herself a prosthetic first. She wasn't thinking about archery at all. This was just during the pandemic. And she wanted to get herself a prosthetic arm. So I think she and her family came to Bangalore to get herself a prosthetic arm. And I think she was waiting to try one on. At which point in time, the doctor asked her, what would you like to do if you got a prosthetic arm? What do you think was her answer?
No, she told
Climbing trees.
She told that after I have these prosthetics, I want to wear bangles.
She wanted to wear bangles.
Yeah.
Unusual, very odd.
For all of us, it would be a little odd, but for a girl of 14, 15 years old who's managed to develop the strength to climb trees, she really doesn't need or feel the need for arms to maintain her balance. She's so strong that she doesn't find the need to have arms at all for performing these activities. Instead, what she really wants her arm, her prosthetic limb, is for her to wear bangles. I found that very cute. So she did try to get a prosthetic limb, but the prosthetic limb never worked for her. Like for her arm, they were simply unable to get a limb that fit her specifications. So she never actually ended up getting a prosthetic. All right, now on to the story about how she was discovered. Or who discovered that she had the potential to become an archer. So when she was about, I think, 14 or 15 years of age, the Indian Army, they were conducting some events in 2021, and they knew that many people who had such disabilities, they would have other limbs to compensate for the strength. So they invited Sheetal Devi and they did a full check on her, and they found that she was very strong with her legs and her abdomens. And that's when they identified archery was a potential area for her. And so there were two people from the Indian Army who coached her, Abhilasha Chaudhary and Kuldeep Vedwan. These were the two coaches who worked with her. So now remember, she doesn't have a prosthetic. What do you think was the inspiration for her to become an armless archer? How do you think her coaches got this idea?
I don't actually know. I'm just guessing. They might have seen like in that competition, they might have actually discovered that her abdomen and the leg bones were so strong she can do archery with her legs. They just thought of trying it out and maybe.
They might have been that creative. I'm not saying they could not have been. However, there was someone else before her who's been an armless archer. She is not the first armless archer in the world, but she is the first female armless archer. So there has been one other armless archer. His name is Matt Strutzman. So he shot with his legs in the archery event in the 2012 London Paralympics. And that's the person from whom Sheetal Devi's coaches got an inspiration from. And they decided to design the bow and arrow based on whatever he did. But they had to make some changes to her bow and arrow and her strings and how she was going to operate it with her mouth and all of that. So Matt Strutzman is yet another person who's done this before. The word armless and the word archer, normally we don't think these two words can ever go together. But now with Sheetal Devi, we do have armless archers too. There are people in the world who've defied all odds and they've done it. Do you want to tell your friends anything special about Sheetal Devi's story that really strikes a chord with you all?
Well, I had seen a video where one day she was talking to her coach, and so she was feeling sad. So her coach asked her, "Why are you feeling sad? Cheer up." So then she said, "Everyone is shooting. Everyone is shooting right at the target, but I'm still not able to do it." Then she was exercising a lot. She was dribbling with her arms. And from when she was a child, she loved to go to school, but she was afraid that she could not go because she did not have arms.
She would get teased.
Yeah, she would get teased, but also she would not be able to write without her arms. But in the classroom, she was writing with a really beautiful handwriting with her legs.
Wow. So for all of our listeners, the two things I'd like to tell you all. A, I'm leaving a link to a photograph of Sheetal Devi. Shall we leave them a photograph or a video?
Well, a video would be better. It would give a better description about her.
Yeah, I think so too, because you have to help them understand how she releases that arrow, right? Wonderful. Okay, so I'm leaving a video of Sheetal Devi's performance in one of the many international events that she's participated in. I also have a small suggestion for all of our young listeners as well as slightly older listeners. if there is a message that you want to write to Sheetal Devi, it could be a word of congratulations or a word to tell her how inspiring she is. If you're listening to this on Spotify, just scroll down and you will find a space where you can leave your messages for Sheetal Devi right there. If you're not listening to this on Spotify, just send those messages across to me via email to hello@wsnt.in. There's going to be one more episode as part of the People of the Year 2023 series on What's New Today, this podcast channel. Smyan, Naira, and I have spoken about both these fantastic personalities. You can hear the next episode on Monday, December the 25th, 2023. I think it makes for a beautiful story, a very inspiring story for Christmas. See you on Monday, and thanks for listening.